episode on Westfox, we are talking about video games. Not a topic we talk about as much, though we are both video game players. I am nowhere near as much as one as I used to be due to both time constraints and the way the games are done nowadays. And so a game that had a lot of interesting responses to it was Battlefield 5. When it came out, there was a lot of, conversation over the trailer and the artistic merit that was used in it, with such as, amputees and frontline female soldiers in the trailer. And that caused a lot of issue. Well, I wouldn't say caused a lot of issue. It caused a certain reaction to it, and then that created this whole thing that was really silly, including the DICE themselves actually having their Christmas party mocking people who didn't like the trailer. It was kind of one of those weird things.
And I didn't know that they mocked everybody, that's poor on DICE and EA for that one. But that being said, because I do remember when this controversy started from them showing it, the females that they do show in there, though, are, I believe, either English or Russian people who, during World War II, there was women Russian fighters because, the Russians just gave their people broomsticks and let them run. So it wasn't historically inaccurate that they did have females at certain parts, because there was, the U.S. military. Yes, we did not have women frontline, and we tried not to, even to this day, mostly. I mean, yes, we do have people in there, but Russia did have people on there. So people getting mad about it. Yeah, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, really? That's not the hill to die on. For DICE, though, to make fun of people at their Christmas party.
You can kind of see it on the screen.
Way to punch down. Way to punch down. That's what makes it pathetic. Like when people punch up against a multi-million-dollar company, you kind of say, okay, there's a little bit of underdog. For them to come back and be like, kind of do the man baby thing. It's
and also too, the CEO, when people had the critique on it, he said, if you don't like it, don't buy it, and they didn't. Well, to be honest, a lot of people did buy it. They still sold 7 million copies. And what was interesting is, we'll get to this part later, is that they're now kind of wrapping up their production on the game. And the game's not that old. That's what's kind of interesting to me. It was released in September 2018, so it's not even 2 years old yet.
It's not even 2.
Yeah, and they're already ramping up. They're kind of on it. And the next game doesn't come out until, is this the right one? Yeah, April 21st or March, or between April 21st and March 2022. So it's almost a high potential being almost 2 years out the next game. So it kind of shows that either they have the money of the 7 million people that bought it, and they're like, peace out, we're gonna just cut that team and move on to the other things, which on a certain level I'm okay with, but it's kind of ties into the larger problem that I see with the video game space, which is they really want your money up front and then cut and run. And the reason I can bring this up is not so much that this game did that on the highest level, but there's a game that I didn't play. However, my brother here, he did play it, and that game is called Anthem. And I had a question for him, and I said, when the game came out at its peak, now the Twitch metric isn't a perfect metric or anything like that. It's just kind of it's a general metric. It just lets us see who's watching and who cares. And when the game started, it had over 300,000 concurrent watchers. Now that's a peak at it. What do you think it's at right now? If you had to guess, you haven't looked this up. I looked it up, so I already know. But we will show the audience.
I will say that I assume it's under 100,000. I might almost assume it's under 75,000.
Okay, so let's say, what do you want to say? You're 75,000 plus or minus what? 10,000, 5,000?
We'll give 5,000.
Okay, so
plus
somewhere between plus or minus 75,000. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that number?
Which number am I looking at? Is this live viewers right now that says 26?
Yes.
Average viewers for the last 7 days is 27. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, they deserve it. I'm
and you played the game, so you that's what I'm giving you the floor here.
Let me go into a little diatribe about this completely, because I'm out of most of the game, like, there might have been a few games that I've bought in the past, that you play it once and I went, okay, maybe it wasn't worth the $60 that you have to buy for every single new game that comes out, that's happening on there. There might have been a few, you play it once and maybe go, okay, there's not much replayability, so whatever, maybe it wasn't as worth as much. Then I got to Anthem, and I thought I'll put it this way, the way that they marketed this product originally was seeming like this was supposed to one up Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they made this look like saying, hey, you're going to have similar Destiny type stuff, but now you can fly. It's even more open world. And here's all this going to be happening. It's going to be awesome. And then, and I'll really prove this to the viewers, like what makes this even worse. If you pre-ordered the game, Anthem, like I did and my roommate, you were able to play, I think it was either 2 days before or a day before the actual
sounds right.
opening date for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to play for 8 hours. And it was just like a timer. So once you started up, it said 8 hours and here you go. I realized, because I played it for about 6 hours that first day, I didn't play the whole 8 hours. In those 6 hours, I could have actually finished the entire storyline of that game. I didn't, because I was running around doing some of the side stuff or just some of those random side mission things. And I wouldn't even call them side missions. I call them like side step around there and shoot a few more people and then you're going to do something. So it's like I was doing some of the other random stuff that was already becoming monotonous at the beginning of it. And, it's like, Destiny kind of rolls into that. Sometimes you kind of feel the grind. Like 20 minutes into this game, you're going, okay, how many times can I just destroy a mass group of people that I'm barely seeing on screen?
And Destiny is a great comparison, even though when the excellent article that Jason Schreier put out talking about it, that they didn't want to even talk about Destiny when they were producing.
Yeah, they didn't even want to mention it within their meetings about producing this game, which Destiny was their main competitor.
It shows because Destiny 2 came out, I believe, a year before May. So May 2000. Well, I'm guessing this was about September 2017. Looks like it probably came out. I'm guessing off these numbers. I've heard exactly, but you compare that at 17,000 live viewers right now, and the game is still, it's not even in a bad place viewership wise. I mean, you're talking that it's only at 50% or so, a little less than that of what it's maxed, on average. These numbers here, it's ranked 26.
And I mean, and at this point now, you got to imagine. Well, and you got to point out too that's like for Destiny right now, that's Destiny 2, and I think so far 3 DLCs, and then they had their season pass. That's all at, and at that point, that's kind of when I started slowing.
Yes.
No, I think there was 3 DLCs if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. No, you're right. I think they're at the 4th one now, or the 4th one's coming out, or just came out.
I think it's either coming out or no, because they were doing that because they did the whole season, the season pass for something, and there's like the Arsenal things. Now that's like I said, but I just want to point it out.
Too complex though. That shows the problem too. Is these games have gotten so complex with their
I agree,
but
that's what I just want to point out. Destiny 2 though has gone through many a DLC, and it's kind of at a stagnant point right now because it's that season. I think they're waiting to make Destiny 3 at this point. I agree. And I think that's what they're going for. So 17,000 people at kind of the low end of when there's not much more coming out. People have been replaying this for a while now, and it's a couple years old compared to Anthem that came out, hasn't had any DLCs, and is already at 24 because like I said, to go back to my first point, you could finish the entire game in 8 hours for Anthem. Mm-hmm. I could have finished the entire game on that first pre-trial day before it opened up. And to me, I paid $60 for a game I could finish in 6 hours, 8 hours, and there's no replayability, and there's nothing in the way of multiplayer. I think at the time frame, I think they might have brought it out a little bit later afterward, and there was a few fixes that they had on there. But for me, I just went, I don't know. I have to always go back to what Westfox always said. If you're if you're in a space and like, let's say you're trying to make a space epic, then you got to understand, if you're making a space epic movie, then you know that around you have Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, these other things that have it on there. So those are kind of a competitor in a sense. If you want to say, well, I want to make sure we don't talk about any of the things else that kind of fits in my space, you're an idiot. Like, you are a complete idiot. I don't know. I don't understand how they could say, well, we don't want to talk about this. We don't want to talk about Destiny at all. It's like, well, are you trying to be a massive are you trying to be Destiny? Because that's what you guys were going for. And then to say you don't want to discuss it to understand it. So they butchered this. I mean, it's the story, and there's not even a storyline. And
even the
voice acting was
hours watched, 4,000 hours watched, 4,200 hours watched versus let's round up, 1.7. I mean, the rounding error,
right?
The amount of people watching that watched Anthem at this point is a rounding error on Destiny 2. That just shows. And the reason I bring these up is comparatives. This is why I don't play video games like I used to. As much as I did enjoy Destiny and do enjoy playing it little bits here and there, it's so much of a grind. These games are so grindy now. And I know some people love that, and that's totally cool. But when you have these games where you have thousands of hours or hundreds and hundreds of hours into it, I personally fall into the space of going, where do you put your time and energy? And I think a lot of times I start going, okay, do I want to put my energy into learning an instrument? Do I want to put my energy into learning a new skill, something that makes me money, something that just, and relaxing? And I don't begrudge people who want to relax on stuff. And if people make money doing the game, that's a totally different part of the conversation.
Right.
But there's, that's a small percentage of that. Let's say right now there's 1,300 live channels going right now. And that means there's only 1,300 people out of thousands, millions, out there.
Right. Well, and what it comes down to too is I don't buy a game to. I'm trying to put it in this way. It's like, I think of games in the same way that I think of movies. If I purchase something for that, I should get my money's worth out of the main storyline, the main, parts of it. I shouldn't say, well, I got my $60 worth because I played 8,000 hours of multiplayer. Like, that's, to me, it's like that's unless the game is is meant for that. It's saying, hey, their game is really all about multiplayer. There's certain games that are like that. Battlefield is a lot more about its multiplayer aspect
I'd
than
agree.
the campaign.
Those Call of Duty and those, they did cut.
Yeah,
out
I mean, I think Call of Duty's a little bit better. Call of Duty was a little bit better about bigger campaigns and then kind of smaller on. I mean, a little bit, because the difference is Call of Duty is like 8-on-8 or 4-on-4. Battlefield is 32 on 32. So it's, I mean, there's a huge difference in the amount of.
I think the last Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield
3?
is mass.
No, 4. Maybe it's 4. No, it's probably 3. Right? We used to play Battlefield 3. I haven't played Battlefield.
We played 3.
So
we played 4. Then I had Battlefield 1, which was World War 1, which I actually enjoyed a lot because I started getting a little bit annoyed by Battlefield 3 just because everyone always had, the most awesome sniper rifle. I think it was like the SRS 61 or something like that. And, like, you're getting sniped like across the map every single time, and it's like, I'm so done. And then they went to Battlefield 1, and they're like, hey, you don't get to have a sniper that gets to shoot a mile across. You get your old carbine, your little carbine, and that's what you have to use, and you got to deal with, wind droppage and the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think that from what I saw, they did some new features in the new Battlefield 5, like this 3D holographic thing or something, 3D scoping, as it makes it really easy to snipe people from a distance or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there was always that, but like, to me, Call of Duty was always the most annoying for multiplayer because some guy throws his knife across the map and you get hit in the heel and you die, and it's like, I'm done, I'm not playing anymore, get me out of here. I always loved Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty for actually it's
Call of Duty 2, man. Remember the grenades? You just sit there with 3 grenades.
Oh yeah,
and just launch 3 grenades across the map, and everyone's first move would just be launch grenades. Especially that like the barge, you'd just be like, throw 3 grenades.
If I want that, I play Halo, because then I can just get happy sticking people like all the time. Stuck you, this grenade, that grenade, like, okay, that's totally good for it. But so yeah, like I said, Anthem failed on every metric that it had. It is a short campaign. There is no multiplayer. They tried to make it seem like it was going to be bigger than it was ever going to be, because they couldn't even make it that way, because they didn't want to make it that way, because they couldn't even think to make it that way. I mean, and then I'm trying to even, like, the story itself is just, like, I got to the end of it and I went, I guess you tried to start some character development, but
maybe these games really are dead, though. I was going to say, so what prompted this was, like, the article that Jason Schreier more recently brought out was saying that, they're going to do Anthem Next or Anthem 2.0, one of those two. They had a moniker for it, and that they're redeveloping the game and they're putting it out. They're going to redo it. I don't believe that anymore. I honestly,
No.
and I was saying this is proof to why I don't believe that they're doing it, which is, are they really going to do a game that has failed this hard? I mean, Destiny 1 and 2, like I said, the reason I use metric at Destiny is because Destiny was their direct comparison. And then you pull up even, I'm pulling up Battlefield 5. Again, this is not the perfect thing, but it gives a pretty good idea. 360 viewers, only 17,000. I mean, this game is at least doing better than Anthem, and they're pretty much pulling the plug on it.
Can you
here.
look up Battlefield 3? Because I bet Battlefield 3 might actually still have more people on it daily than I bet 4 or 5. Or Battlefield 4 might even still have more people. 3 and 4 I bet have more people than 5 or 1.
Battlefield, no, that's not. No, that's Battle 4.
That's Battle Split.
Oh, Battlefield.
I bet, because I think 4 is still probably more used by... okay, no. Because the other one said 360.
I mean, it still has more hours watched than Anthem. 21,000 to 4,000. I mean, that shows you, it has 142 live viewers. That's still better. I mean, that's insane that when you have a thing that you literally have a game that was supposed to be this megalith in the space of live service video game, and it is so dead. Like, you cannot, again, I don't think they can revive this game. Like, they're better off rebranding a game and calling it, they were going to call it like Discovery, or they had another name they were going to call it that they couldn't, but they'd be better off just being like, this is now Matheum. And you're like, oh, cool, Matheum. That sounds like a great game. That's awesome. And you're like, yeah, it's everything that Anthem was not. And you're like, I get the reverse name now.
Like I said, the biggest thing that they shot themselves in the foot is, and again, because like you said, this was EA. EA's been coming out with quite a few times where they've told their audience, we're giving you greatness, and they give you crap. So it's like, for me, it pissed me off. We were talking about offline. It's like Battlefront 1 was an affront to anybody who enjoyed the original games for it. And then they were like, and they did the same exact thing now that they're trying to say with Anthem. And I think so many people are sick and tired of it. It's not going to work again. But they did the same thing. Oh, well, you know what? We went to Battlefront 2 and we added all these new features. Oh, you mean all the features that the original game made in 2000s did? Yeah, thanks. We appreciate that you gave us what we originally had before and you couldn't give it to us originally. And I feel like they're trying to do the same thing. Wait, we didn't give you what we wanted when we promised you this Destiny 3.0 epic, and we gave you a 2-hour long crap. We'll make it better. We'll make it up to you. You know what? The only way you can make it up to me, EA, if you want to give it, every single person who bought Anthem for their $60, give them Anthem 2 for free. Then maybe you might gain some grace back, but don't tell me to pay for that piece of crap again and say, we'll make it up to you. No, you can't make it up to me. I spent $60 and I lost 8 hours for nothing.
This is why I brought him on, because I knew he had some stuff because he spent money on it and I did not. The other thing that's hilarious, if you think about it, is more people are home now than in anywhere in history.
I was gonna say, we're in a quarantine.
Right,
there's more people playing video games right now. You would think that the numbers are more inflated for many of these. Or you would assume somewhat.
I don't think I can't zoom in here. Let's see. 54 viewers in January, 52, 29. I mean, right now
there was more before the quarantine.
Yeah, so that must mean
people are like, I'm stuck at home. I'm not playing Anthem.
Yeah, again, and I'll go to the main part here and go to games and go, what are people watching? Okay, Valorant. I don't just chatting. Okay, League of Legends, Fortnite. What is that? I'm just curious now.
I bet it's just literally probably just a chatting thing.
Oh, probably like some kind of conversational thing. Got it.
Yeah.
That's a game, it says.
I mean, League of Legends. Well, so League of Legends is a PC game. Mm-hmm. Then you got Fortnite, and then like you said,
Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 are still some of the best Call of Duty games ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they redid the anniversary versions of them.
Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, Apex Legends.
Yeah. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII. I quite enjoyed that. I don't know if you've played Final Fantasy VII. Or I don't know.
I never did play the Final Fantasies.
I didn't either.
But I also
but
never
I've
had.
been
I
playing
never had
7.
PlayStation, so
I know you need to
So-
get one. PS5, dude. You need to buy a PS5 so we can play.
I know.
Because as much as I just like playing in bed
But
before bed, so
But I've been, you know what I've been doing though, because there's no good video games out. I just jump on my Halo Master Chief collection and get to play through either Reach, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo
That's fair
3
enough.
ODST, Halo 4, or or if I really wanted to, I can even play Halo 5 and then all the multiplayer. So Halo's still like, that's, I'll always have to have an Xbox. At least even maybe the version I have right now, just so I can always play Halo.
right. No, it's fair. I mean, like I said, I'm interested. In this next generation game is supposed to be really interesting, a really big upgrade. Maybe it'll be our Christmas gifts to ourselves. We'll have to get the PlayStations and Xboxes for ourselves and play, because there are some games probably over the next couple of years that, I'm excited about. It hasn't been announced or anything like that, but I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't. But I would say God of War, the next God of War should be awesome. And then the Horizon Zero Dawn 2, would be pretty excited to play. I really like that game.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of the game, that's ironic because, you do have, it's a reason why Battlefield 5 didn't have a campaign, was because they've said like, oh, they don't have no one cares about campaigns anymore. And I'm like, as it gotten older, the multiplayer stuff I just get bored of. In the sense of like, I can only play so many hours of Destiny in the multiplayer and everything, and
doing Crucible and stuff like that. Yeah.
The hours I used to be able to play. We used to play. I think we used to play a little bit. Or no, you really never had Xbox, but PlayStation. I remember playing like 10, 12-hour sessions of Modern Warfare 2 all the time. Like I'd get off work and go play hours on it, and hours, and like literally get off work, play, sleep, get off work, play, sleep, go to work. And that was like the cycle. And now I'm like, oh, a couple hours, cool, I'm done. And that's even on the main things. And that's also the time part where I was saying, put your time into what is valuable. And so there is a balance where I'm like, okay, I'm going to put some of these hours into this before I'm like, nope, this is too much of time suck now. And I feel like some of these games now, like Destiny, are like, you must play hundreds of hours to enjoy me. And I'm like, no. Sorry, I can't.
And I think that to go back to Anthem, what made it so frustrating is, I've kind of had the similar feeling, Fox. It's like there's moments where I go, like right now, like I said, I have the Halo Master Chief is probably the main one that I go to if I want to play some multiplayer. But again, that's also because I'm trying to level up my character to open up some stuff. So there's progression, and there's work to be done, and I'm actually getting something out of it that I want. So it makes it helpful compared to, we'll just play and you're not getting anything, or here's a loot box and people are just buying it out from you anyway instead of having to earn it. But that being said, I agree with you. It's like the few of the other games I have, though, like I've had to go back and I've brought back on for my Xbox One, I've brought back on like Xbox games like KOTOR or certain games that are actually a story-based thing that I can sit back and say, you know what, I don't want to do multiplayer. I just want to play a good game that makes me think, that gives me a good storyline,
and then wrap up.
And yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, I can play for a couple of. I mean, it's like, cause the KOTOR games can take you. I mean, take you days depending on how you want to play them on there.
Yeah, I feel like I finish them usually in 40 to 50 hours.
I might have done a little bit more just because like
you probably did more side quests. There are more probably side quests that you can probably spend a little more time in a few of them.
And I didn't realize, because especially for KOTOR 2, no, the original KOTOR, excuse me, because there was a few parts that when we had actually the DVD version of it, there was like certain parts actually missing.
Oh.
Or there was like not too much, but I guess there's a lot more in actually KOTOR 2 because they couldn't finish it, and that's why they had to cut it down. There was a lot more, but actually like re-downloading it now, when I'm playing KOTOR 1, you can go to like this little side planet where there's a Rhodian, if I remember correctly, Greedo's race, and you can actually like buy some like really, really good equipment there, and like the best armor that you could possibly have in the entire game is there. And I was like, I never remembered this, and I looked it up, and they're like, yeah, when it originally came out, there was some coding errors. And there was some stuff, and they couldn't. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But I mean, there's not too much more than it. But also, as I've gotten older, then I like doing a lot more of the side quests and really pushing through. Right. Totally. But yeah, I just like I said, I miss. I have this weird mix because there's two things I miss in video games right now. I miss more like story driven, a good campaign that's maybe 15 hours long or something. And here's the thing: if it is an 8-hour campaign, I don't have that problem. If you're telling me that's what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be a journey. Here's your story. That's it.
Right.
I don't have that problem because at least then I know what I'm getting. Anthem didn't do that. But the other thing I do miss on the other side is then and there's some games that are trying to come back to it and bring it back, but it's the co-op play. That's something that I do miss a lot because it's like, because I get it now. It's like, because it was obviously, well, let's,
Final Fantasy VII would have been
and-
really cool with
and-
that, to be honest, so far. That would have been really fun.
Oh, see, I could imagine. It's like, again, going back to Halo, all of us as kids, all three of us brothers, we jumped on the same Xbox and we're playing, the multiplayer co-op, or, and that's what's great about the Halo Master Chief Collection now is now you can play the campaign, every single campaign as co-op.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
And so, but I think you could still in the originally.
I'll probably buy an Xbox,
again,
whatever the new one's called. It's a terrible name. They just need to stop their naming. What's it? Xbox One X, SX?
It's like the Xbox Series X or something like that.
So
It's like
their naming
Microsoft
department.
just call it the One. It's like, could they not use One because the proprietary naming system was already taken by PlayStation, so they couldn't call it Xbox?
They called
or something.
They
It's like just they wanted to be.
They just need to go in there and say it is now the Xbox 5. Just be honest with it, and just let the numbers or make it like the Roman number, Xbox V. Like,
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Xbox. You call it a name. Use kind of like Apple's convention for they were using the big cats for a long time for their names, and now they're using all like California landmarks for their naming convention. Just be like, man, we're the Xbox Valkyrie, and then just move on, and that's what it's called.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but they think they're so clever by coming up with Xbox One X spells Xbox again. They're like, we're brilliant, and you're like, you're an idiot. Like, you are such an idiot.
Right. It's not even. Like,
can you
reverse,
make sure
like,
the thing actually
Dumber.
works before you care about the wording, the naming
like
of the box?
It's not even like the Dumb and Dumber one when they're like, "You sold our car for a bike." Yep, it's 80 miles to the gallon, baby. And you're
80
like,
miles?
you have never. And you're like, nope, that naming convention. Stop it, guys. Just
stop.
'cause I don't even know.
Like I said,
I mean, we all know what, like, it's the newest Xbox coming out. But if you said, hey, bet your life on what the next PlayStation is, you're like, PlayStation 5.
PlayStation.
And if they're
6,
like,
5. Yeah.
And then they're like, bet your life on what the next Xbox is called, and you're like, because
I went from Xbox
I
to
don't
Xbox
even know.
360, so then I assumed the next one was supposed to be 720, but then they're like, no.
That was
and
a
then
silly
weren't they originally
yeah.
calling it the Scorpio or something, or like it's or was that like
they should have
was
left
that
with
or was that
kind
like
of
a
thing.
hidden name? Was that kind of like their project name to hide it?
Yeah, it was definitely a project name, but I think they were trying to do some other stuff that they haven't really done because it's kind of what the future of video gaming is if it's in the cloud, because I mean, the other disaster inside the space is the obviously Google Stadia, which no one has or cares about other than people who for some reason are stands for
I don't think I've heard
these
of
products. Yeah, well,
Google
you're probably not-
Stadium?
Stadia. It's like the cloud.
Stadia.
It's Google's cloud streaming service for playing video games on. That
Oh,
probably won't be. I mean, it won't be around. I guarantee it's probably gonna have the shelf life of Anthem. They're gonna be like, yeah, that's canceled. They're gonna. I mean, there's no way.
Well, yeah.
But anyway,
I was gonna make something, but I won't say it.
Okay. Well, any last thoughts on this topic?
No, like I said, I don't know what EA is thinking if they're really going to try to bring back something Anthem-wise.
Oh, yeah.
If they're going to try to bring something back Anthem-wise, they're in for a bad time because no one wants that. Now, like I was talking to you off air, at least for Battlefield 5, it is odd that they said that they wanted to continue this, and now they're going, never mind, we don't want to. My only hope that I can say about that, though, is that EA has been on a little bit of a power trip where every year they're trying to come up with one of their products each year that was getting put out with, because I think it was like you went Battlefield 1, Battlefront, Battlefield 5, Battlefront 2, and Anthem. So it's like every year they keep trying to bring out their big, massive names.
Right.
And I think they're trying to, and it's like, you know what? So if they actually took 2 years to come up with a good product for Battlefield 6, then I don't have a problem.
Right. No, I agree with that.
So if they're going to take that time to do it well, that's because it's like, I think it's the same thing we've talked about for a lot of the movie space right now. It's like,
I was gonna say,
you guys
right
keep
there.
throwing this crap out, and you're not coming up with anything new.
Take the time.
Instead of saying, well, every year I need to come out with a movie so I can make $1 billion every year off of, whichever Marvel movies that I'm putting out this year. It's like, come up with quality and not quantity. Yep. You don't have to come out with a massive thing. And I thought that was kind of maybe Battlefield 5's hope was, we'll continue to kind of work on this. So we'll have people doing this, keeping it up. But we're going to have our side team be able to start creating something new.
And I think that was a lot of people's hope, especially since it was designed around the multiplayer more than it was designed around the campaign, because there was no campaign.
And that being said, that's the same thing I feel right now for Destiny 2 is, I like Destiny, and I like Bungie. They made Halo, but with them and Activision has been kind of a problem with what they've created. I know now they're no longer under Activision, which again, I think is why they did their few DLCs and they did their season pass, because I think they were trying to generate some revenue to create Destiny 3 and have that. So again, they for me are though, but Destiny, I will say, is a dangerous place for me, because if Destiny 3 comes out and it's like Destiny 2, then I'm not going to be a Destiny fan anymore.
I will say, on that topic of my wrap up, is I bought Destiny 2 pre-ordered, and I will not be buying Destiny 3 pre-ordered. I'll have to see. It'll probably be at least a couple weeks to a month before I buy it. It'll be if it's well reviewed, well executed, and the overall is positive, and then I'll buy it. But if it starts out in the same place that Destiny 2 did for the audience, where it was kind of a half-baked Destiny 1, which was bizarre.
Yeah.
I will not buy it. And that's the thing too on these games, is why I don't pre-order games. The only game that I probably won't even pre-order, because it doesn't even matter anymore, because I can just buy it online. The only reason to pre-order a game is because you want to download it early onto your PS4 right now, or your Xbox,
or there's some like paraphernalia or memorabilia that you get for getting, it's like, oh, I really want to get the token, and I'm one of those nerds who wants the token. Not saying like I am personally, but it's like that would be I know Halo, I think, because Philip did.
Or if
Halo
you're gonna buy it, right? Like you're gonna buy a Halo. What's the new one? Halo Infinite. Yeah, Halo Infinite's coming out next.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna buy it.
Yeah,
that's fine. But they get like that one try to be like, cool, I'm gonna buy this no matter what. And then when that sucks, then you're like, okay, I'm not buying it. And that's what Destiny 2 for me was. I bought Halo 2 because... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, personally for me, for at least Destiny 3, I was kind of what I actually said for Destiny 2, and I think in the end, then they had a sale, so I did get it a little bit after it came out, but it was a little bit cheaper. But I think originally for Destiny 2, both Hunter and I, as roommates, we both said, you know what, I'm waiting until the first DLC comes out, and then I'll buy it. And that's probably what I'll do for Destiny 3, honestly, is I'll wait for the first DLC, see where everything's at after the game comes out. So the game and the first DLC, because it's brought about 3-4 months afterward. Mm-hmm. And then I might see where it's at and put my money into it. Yeah. But again, like I said, I give Bungie and Activision was a problem. Activision did, from what I've heard and what I understand, did kind of screw Bungie a little bit for Destiny 2. I think it was like 6 months before they were supposed to come out. I mean, there's portions in there. I don't know if I agree fully, but it's like
the biggest
problem. Because I also like
seeing...
Activision. Activision usually puts out some decent stuff.
Well, yeah, but the biggest thing you're seeing, it was the same story with both Destiny and with Anthem, which is it was almost a mirror story where Destiny 2 was rebooted halfway through. They keep doing this for some reason. The production is they just like rebooting stuff for some reason. They don't have a vision for some reason. And I won't go down that part of that road, because I want to kind of wrap this one up. But I want to thank everyone for joining us today on this discussion. Spend your money wisely is kind of my end advice on this. Spend your time wisely, because that's where, for me, the lesson has changed. Where in the past I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend $60 because there's $60 gone on the game. For me now, the $60 is less valuable than the time that I'm like, oh, I just wasted 16 hours on something that has no value.
Yeah.
It's kind of like why, like, you know, when you're younger, you'll stand in line at Best Buy for 15 hours to, you know, people would big stand in line and stuff. And I'm like, no, because
Either for the new iPhone or something like that.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't care enough on the stand in line for something that long that I can get in 2 days or online or other ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the reality is, in that kind of time, I can make more money than the thing is worth probably sometimes, or you can do something that's more valuable long term. And so that's, you know, why I put the games to go, do games to enjoy them and have fun, but don't let them suck up your time, because your time is very valuable. So
well, and I do maybe want to make one final point. You know, we keep saying $60, but let's just be honest, $60 is usually the base level of the game, and usually there's the deluxe edition that's usually another $10 or $20 more, and then there's the gold edition of something that's then like, you know, like, because I think like, I mean, you could get, I mean, in most games that I'm seeing nowadays, it ranges from 60 to about 120, depending on which version of the game you get, or up to 100. I know that I think Destiny's gold version, that then you've got a few extra, you know, like you got a few skins and stuff like that, was close to $100. It was like $89. So like 90 to it's like you're adding an extra 30. So
I would
it's like,
say at least over $100 to put into Destiny with the, because I know I bought the 2 DLCs as part of the initial purchase with it, and then I did buy the Warmind expansion as well. And that's where I stopped off. Was no, not the Warmind, the
Black Armory.
No, I didn't even go that far. It was one prior to that.
Okay.
It was the big expansion last year, and then it went to the whole like season passes, and it was like, you know, $60, and I'm like, I just don't. I refuse to pay that much money for the time they want you into, and that's where I stopped.
Well, I mean, because I think the season pass was 30, which was still kind of like,
I've spent
you're telling me
$200 in this game. I'm not spending $30 more. I think it.
Yeah, like I said, that I think pricing conventions for video games need to get their crap kind of figured out, because it's like, I'm sorry, when you're telling me that, like you said, and that's, again, I'm super glad that I didn't get any, like, you know, I didn't do any deluxe edition or anything from Anthem. Otherwise, I would have be calling the EA and asking for my gosh darn Flex account. That's a reference for anyone who gets it from Archer. But yeah, no, I just can't. Like I said, they just need $60. I mean, just viewers, think about that. $60. You know how many other things you can buy for $60 that isn't a video game that you're sitting on your butt not making any money off of it? I mean, for $60, man, I could buy a bunch of wood and some metal and, you know, carve out something and go down to my local head shop and try to sell it and gets consignment for it. You know, so I enjoy being able to play video games, but when video games don't give you what the price is for, then we're in a really bad place. And I think that real soon, in my opinion, I can see that the video game industry might have a problem if they want to keep raising costs.
Oh, they have a huge
but they're
problem.
not raising quality.
They have a huge problem. I'm going to pull this up here, which was talking about,
because like half of it always comes down to, I think,
it's insane. They make tons of money on these games. Anybody who, the argument that the poor game developers don't make profit on it, any of these triple ones, they make so much money. Just on microtransactions, they make so much money.
I know.
The people that I feel bad for are the actual on-the-floor developers, the people who are actually working crunch hours and all that kind of stuff, and they're trying to be in it, and they're kind of abused. You know, they're the guys who don't get $15 million sign-on bonuses, like people who got signed into Activision, who are, you know, doing the hard work, having to do the coding and all that kind of stuff. And
the actual grunt work, the people
the
who are
actual grunt work that actually matters in the end, versus a general, you know, an accountant position, and they're getting $15 million.
Or the guy that then comes back and says, or the guy that, you know,
$15 million to sign into job. Could you imagine being like, he got hired and here's $15 million? That's freaking like,
yeah.
You know,
and then what's your one job? You walk over the grunts who've been working the last 2 years and go, scrap it, all of it, redo it, and you go, are you in it? Hole?
Yeah.
Like that's what gets me. It's like, you know,
yeah,
like
it's crazy. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Have an excellent day. Stay healthy. Enjoy some sunlight. If you haven't enjoyed the sun, get out there and enjoy the sun.
Yes.
Join us for next time. Have a great day.